everybody, and welcome back to Lambda Gaming, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Atonement Discipline Priest for patch 4.3. So, the first thing we're going to go over is our talents and our spec, and our stat priority, of course. Now, there are a few different ways you can play Discipline. If you want to go for something like a high raid healing build, you're going to want to take something where you have haste over mastery over crit. This allows you to cast very fast heals and proc a lot of Divine Aegis, well, not quite as much, yeah. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Lambda Gaming. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Atonement Discipline Priest for patch 4.3. I will go over the other build in a different video, which I like to call the dedicated tank healing build, which doesn't involve the use of Atonement and Smite to heal, but yeah, we'll show you all about that in another guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Atonement Priest, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the stat priority. Now, there is a bit of a heated debate as to which spec is actually better and which talent you should use and all the rest of it, but there are a few different ways you can play Discipline. If you want to go for a high raid healing build, have a lot of AoE heals, you're going to pick your stat priorities as haste, then mastery, then crit. If you want a stronger tank healing build, you're going to pick something like mastery greater than crit, greater than haste. But you guys want to know the best overall spec, so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, and that one is haste is your first priority, then crit, and then mastery. This is the best overall spec for every general situation. We have more haste, so it allows us to get more smites out and do more heals per second because we're doing more direct healing. And more crit gives us lots of Divine Aegis. We like Divine Aegis, and it also means that our Prayer of Healing is critting more. Well, it means all of our spells are critting more, and the more we're critting, the more Divine Aegis we're proccing. As you'll see in my following videos, when I do the LFR dungeons, the LFR raids even, my Divine Aegis will overtake my Prayer of Healing by a lot. It out-heals just about everything, so we like Divine Aegis. And then you're going to have Mastery last, because it's still good, but it's only really good for power word shield spam, and that more or less died with Lich King, which is a shame, but there we go, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Who says that? Who says that? Sam says that, that's who. Anyway, onto the spec. Obviously we're going to be going for Discipline. We want to pick up our 2 points in improved power word shield, because we like power word shield and its absorption. Twin Disciplines increase our healing by 6%, definitely. Reducing our mana cost by 10%, I think so. Obviously we're going to be using Atonement. As we're smiting, we're going to want to pick up Evangelism and Archangel. That gives us a nice healing boost and some nice mana returns. We don't need Inner Sanctum, so we're not going to worry too much about that. Soul Walling to get rid of the cooldown on Power Shield. Renewed Hope, because this gives us a nice bigger chance to crit, and the more we're critting, the more Divine Aegis we're proccing, the bigger Divine Aegis we're proccing. Sorry, not bigger, that comes with intellect, but the more we're critting, the more Divine Aegis we're getting, and the more Divine Aegis we're doing, the more damage we're preventing, the more healing we don't have to do. And the less healing we have to do, the better. Okay, Power Infusion, because this is a nice cooldown for Discipline. Not only does it help you, it can be used to help out a nice DPS or whoever you feel like, although generally we keep it for ourselves these days because of mana issues, but yeah, we'll talk about more about that in the demonstration. Atonement obviously goes without saying. Inner Focus, a lovely cooldown for Discipline, helps with our mana efficiency, so we're using less mana. I've got this macroed to my Greater Heal, Flash Heal and Prayer of Healing, just to make sure that I'm using it whenever it's off cooldown. Next we're going to pick up our Borrowed Time, because we like haste, and this gives us a 14% haste buff as soon as we cast a Power Word Shield. Now the interesting thing about this, as I will explain in my demonstration, is that you can still use a Penance after you cast a Power Shield, and this won't get rid of the Borrowed Time buff, so you can still actually cast a Penance and then a Greater Heal, and you will still get the hasted Greater Heal or other heal, you know, Prayer of Healing or Flash Heal, without removing the Borrowed Time buff from using Penance. It's a nice little trick for you there. Okay, we don't take Strength of Soul or Reflective Shield because it's more of a PvP skill and doesn't help with our DPS. Strength of Soul is more of a tank healing spec build talent. Let's get the right word, there we go. So we don't need that too much. Divine Aegis, absolute must have. Pain Suppression is a nice cooldown, and we'll be taking Grace. Now, we don't unfortunately have enough points to take Train of Thought in this build, which is a shame because I really like Train of Thought, but unfortunately we don't have enough points to play with. The one I've missed, and the most important one, silly me, is Rapture. Of course, we love Rapture. Rapture gives us a ton of mana back. And this is the reason we only use our shields generally once every 12 seconds whenever Rapture's off cooldown. Make sure you get an add-on that tracks Rapture, because it is the most useful skill you have for keeping your mana up, I should say. And obviously we want Power Word Barrier. Okay, that's all we're going to have in the district tree. For our Holy Tree, we're going to pick up Empowered Healing and Divine Fury. This reduces our healing spell cast time. We're going to be casting more Smites. More Smites is good, more Smites is more healing. And obviously, Empowered Healing is a 15% increase on our other healing spells. And of course we want our 3% Darkness Haste buff, because haste is good. Okay, next we're going to pick one of these talents. We've only got 1 point left. I love Inspiration, and it's a shame that we can't put 2 points into it, so it's more or less a choice between Desperate Prayer and Inspiration. A lot of the builds I've seen go for Desperate Prayer, and if you do a bit of research and look around, that's what you'll find people put it into. Personally, I'm going to stick it in Inspiration. I'm not saying this is right, but this is why I'm going to do it, because I like Inspiration. I like to reduce people's damage taken, and as we're critting a lot, then I see no reason not to take it. But there we go. Okay, so that is our Discipline spec. Next thing I'm going to go over is our gear and our gems and our reforging and whatnot. So, as I've already talked about the stat priority, I'll go over the gems quickly. If we have, first I'll talk about the meta slot. In the meta slot, we want to use either the Ember Burning, what's it called? I've forgotten the name of it. The Burning Shadow Spirit Diamond, or the Ember Shadow Spirit Diamond. Yes, sorry about that. Now I've gone for the Burning Shadow Spirit Diamond here because obviously we like crit, and the more crit we do, the stronger our crits are, the bigger our Divine Aegis is. Now there's nothing wrong with going for the Ember Shadow Spirit one either. The 2% maximum mana is useful, but generally I found that my mana regen is absolutely fine, so I don't need to worry about it, which is why I've gone for the increased crit. If you have a blue slot, you're going to want to put an Int Spirit Gem in there, the Purified Demon Sight, I believe. Yep, so we're going to stick a 20 Int Spirit Gem in there. If you have a yellow slot, you can stick either an Int Mastery or an Int Haste Gem, depending on what spec you've gone for. I've gone for, obviously, the Haste is first spec, so whenever I have a yellow slot, I've gone ahead and stuck a Reckless Ember Topaz in there, get my 20 Intellect and my 20 Haste. If you have a red slot, you're going to stick a Brilliant Inferno Ruby in there, or if you can afford it, the Brilliant Queen's Garnet, I believe it's called. But basically, you want to be gemming for pure intellect in any red slot you can. For the reforging, it's really easy. If it doesn't have Spirit on it, we're going to want to put Spirit on it. So, let's take a look at my back. I've gotten rid of Mastery because it's the weakest one and stuck a little bit of Spirit on there. Next, if it doesn't have Haste on it, we're going to reforge away Crit first to get Haste, and then, Mastery first to get Haste, and then Crit to get Haste. And then if it doesn't have Crit, we're going to reforge Mastery to Crit. That's all there is to it. So you can see how I've reforged my gear here. If you want to have a look at these in any detail, just pause the video as I scroll over them. Now, a quick word about the enchants. On my gear, the enchants aren't necessarily correct because this is just random gear I've picked up through dungeons, and I haven't bothered to enchant it, basically because I'm going to replace it really soon, and there's no point me spending tons of money when I'm going to replace it straight away. But what I am going to do is tell you the best enchant you can have for it anyway. So I might have it on some, I might not have it on others. On the head, you're going to want to go for the Arcanum of Hyjal. You're going to get your 60 in and your 35 critical strike. That's good. On our shoulders, you're going to want the Greater Inscription of Charged Lodestone, but I'm an Inscriptionist, so I've gone ahead and stuck my Fellfire Inscription on there. Your back, you're going to go for your Greater Intellect, your 50 Intellect. On your chest, which I haven't got, is the Peerless stats. You want your plus 20 to all stats on there. On the braces, you're going to want to put Mighty Intellect. On the weapon, you want Power Torrent or Heart Song, I should say, but Power Torrent just provides so many more bonuses. You're getting more healing out of it, and also while the 200 spirit is nice, the more mana you have, the more your spirit regenerates, so Power Torrent overall is just more useful. On your offhand, you want Superior Intellect, your 40 Intellect bonus. On your hands, you're going to want to go for your Haste or Mastery. I've gone for Mastery on this one, but I will change that for Haste when I get enough money and time to do it. And obviously when I get my next item is what I really need to say, because like I said, I'm replacing these all soon enough. On the belts, make sure you put a belt buckle on there so we can get another gem in it. On the legs, we're going to want to stick our powerful ghostly spell thread on there. On our feet, I've gone for Lava Walker. You can also go for Haste, but I like the increased movement speed. Our Mastery still isn't bad, we still like some Mastery, so it's not always bad to put a little bit of Mastery on our gear, although we want Haste or Crit where we can, normally. On our rings, if you're an Enchanter, of course, you can stick your intellect bonuses on there, and if you're a Tailor, you can go ahead and stick your Light Weave on your back. And that about covers our enchants and reforging and our gems. If you have any questions, please let me know. Alright, next thing I'll show you very quickly is the macros I'm going to be using. Now this macro is my absolute favourite macro of all time. Now if you're in a proper high-end raiding guild, you know, you may want to be keeping your Holy Fire and your Smite separate and just using Holy Fire when it's off cooldown, but for the slightly more lazy of us and the people who want to make it an easier time, and because this is generally aimed at, you know, beginner discipline priests, well, beginner, but people doing 5-mans, you know, not particularly absolutely I must squeeze this one extra heal per second out of this kind of people, you know, we're going to be using something along the lines of this. This means that I can target my tank or whoever, and if they're targeting an enemy, this, when I press this button, it will just cast Smite or Holy Fire on that enemy without me deselecting my current target. Okay, and I will copy and paste these into the description so you can use them if you want to. And then the other ones, as I think I've already mentioned, is I've got my Flash Heal, my Great Heal, and my Prayer of Healing macro to my Inner Focus, and I have my Penance and my Prayer of Mending macro to my Trinket, which at the moment is Core of Ripeness, just to make sure I'm keeping that on cooldown. Okay, and of course the glyphs, that's the other thing I meant to talk about. For our prime glyphs we're going to be using Penance and Barrier. Those two are pretty much, you must have them. In the last slot we can either use Prayer of Healing or Power Shield. I would strongly recommend Prayer of Healing though, because the extra 20% over that, considering the amount we use it so much more than Power Shield, especially in raids, that it's just much more beneficial, I feel, to have that than Power Shield. For our major glyphs, with the Atonement spec, we absolutely have to have the Divine Accuracy glyph, because it means our Smite and our Holy Fire will never hit. If they miss at all, that means that we're going to miss a heal, and if we miss a heal and tank guys, that's not cool guys, that's not cool. Prayer of Mending, also another must-have, because that extra 60% is amazing. We are keeping our Prayer of Mending on cooldown all the time, this is brilliant. And finally, this glyph, you can either use this glyph or you can use something along the lines of a Dispel glyph. I've gone for this glyph purely because I am always smiting or holy firing when I've got nothing else to do, and yeah, so I'm getting the most out of this glyph that I can. But it's perfectly acceptable to use a Dispel Magic glyph or even a Master Spell glyph if you really want to, but yeah, I like this one because I find it generally increases my heals per second more. Okay, I'll give you a very quick demonstration of what we're going to be doing generally in our dungeon. So basically we are going to be keeping our Power Shield on cooldown on the tank. Well, not on cooldown, but we're going to be using this as soon as Rapture comes off cooldown. You can see I have got a lovely add-on called Indula's Rapture to manage this, which you can see there, ticking down nicely, and whenever the shield breaks that's going to go off and I'll see this going down, and I should have a lovely sound that pops up to alert me that it's off cooldown. There it is. Alright, so whenever I hear that sound or whenever I see that bar run out, you stick a shield back on your tank as soon as you can. Make sure you get something to monitor your Rapture, because this is your best source of mana regen. Next, we're going to be keeping our Prayer of Mending on cooldown. We're going to be keeping our Penance on cooldown, so make sure we have our 3 stacks of Grace up. Then when we have nothing else to do, we're going to be casting Holy Fire and Smite on our tank's target. Okay, and other word, just make sure, as well as keeping Prayer of Mending and Penance on cooldown, that you try and keep your Evangelism stacks at 5, because this increases the damage done of your Smite and hence the healing of it, and it also reduces the mana cost of your Penance. And try and keep Evangelism on cooldown because it has a tiny cooldown, 30 seconds, and it increases our healing done by 15%, which is quite a lot, and it also returns us a little bit of the mana we spent getting up there. Don't cast Penance on the dummy, that's not good. Cast it on yourself. I normally have my tank targeted obviously, so that would target the tank rather than the dummy, which is why I use my macro, so things like that don't happen. But anyway, once again, if you have any questions about the gear, the reforging, the gems, the enchants, anything like that, please let me know in the comments. Apart from this, I'll see you in the heroic demonstration. Alright, and we have got the first of the Hour of Twilight dungeons, which I think is the same as I did on my Holy Priest, so this will be a nice comparison for you guys to see just how differently Discipline heals to Holy. So as always, when this loads, the first thing we're going to make sure we're doing is we're going to make sure we have our entire party buffed. We're going to be using Fortitude, Shadow Protection, and I usually like to use Inner Will. However, my grid is not set up how I like it. I'm going to very quickly make sure that's the right way. Okay. Alright, let's see who our tank is, just so we know who we're going to be targeting for our Smite macro, generally, and shielding. Going to go for our lovely DK. Lovely. Go ahead and teleport there. Alrighty then. Hopefully we won't have a bit of a disaster like we did with our last thing. So go ahead and swap these over so I can keybind my mount. Lovely. Gonna make sure we're sticking with our tank. Okay, first thing we do is shield the tank, get our Prayer of Mending on cooldown, build up our grey stacks on the tank with Penance. Now we have nothing else to do, we're going to be casting our Holy Fire and our Smite macro, getting our stacks up to 5. Just a little bit of health, keep Prayer of Mending on cooldown, use Greater Heal if you have to. There you can see my Rapture coming off cooldown. There we go. Using Smite, and here you can see my bar for Rapture. He's taking a lot of damage now, so I'm going to throw in a sneaky flash heal, make sure he doesn't die. Keeping up our Prayer of Mending, keeping up our grey stacks. Smiting when we have nothing else to do. That sound just lets me know Rapture's off cooldown, so as soon as that's back off, we're going to use that again. Our Evangelism's at 5 stacks, so we're going to go ahead and use that, get our increased healing. Keep our Prayer of Mending on cooldown, that's all we're doing. Reading all these. Nothing like a nice close first ball. So if he starts taking a lot of damage, instead of using the Smite, you can switch to using Greater Heals instead, and if he takes a lot of damage and he needs to be saved instantly, we can always pop our Praying Suppression, or we can just spam him with Flash Heals, or both if we absolutely have to. Our Hunter is in a lot of trouble, so we're going to Life Grip him out of there, save his life. That was completely the wrong button. There we go, we've just saved our Hunter's friend's life. Give him a Great Heal to make sure he's up. Getting thanked there, no problem, just doing our job, Mr. Hunter. Because that's what we do as a priest, we save lives, especially as a disciplined priest, we stop people taking damage. A few people taking damage, so we'll get our Prayer of Healing up there. Trying to smite when we have nothing else to do. There we go, and this is going to be a smart heal as well, so it's going to heal the warrior, which is quite nice because he has the lowest percentage health. Make sure we keep our Prayer of Mending on cooldown, but it's going to say, well, welcome to the Skype. Oh dear, we're getting called on Skype, that's not good. Hopefully you guys can't hear that, but I apologise if you can. And you can see we've got absolutely no mana issues. Just keeping our Rapture on cooldown, keeping our Prayer of Mending on cooldown, smiting when we can. The reason we want to have 5 stacks of Evangelism all the time is because it reduces the mana cost of our Smite and Penance, and it also increases the damage done by Smite, which is very nice, because it means the more damage it does, the more healing it does. So it's doing more healing and it takes less mana. Everyone's a winner.
Leave now, before we come to blows.
Who's time doing more healing than me? Okay, we go. So he's going to take the pull now, I think. Nope, okay. So Mustang's doing, get the shield on him, give him some nice grey stacks, and get smiting. There we go. And Smite is also reducing our cooldown on Penance as well. Keep our Prayer of Mending bouncing. And cool, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to be the heroes. There we go. Rapture's off cooldown. Watch out we don't hit these ice blades. There it is. Get back in range to make sure we can use that. That's only a movement speed reduction, so we're not going to worry about that. Get our Evangelism on cooldown, keep our Prayer of Mending on cooldown. As soon as this wears off, we're going to Penance him again, get our Grace back up on him. Rapture's almost off cooldown, there it is, stick it back on the tank.
Why won't you give up?
Give everyone a little bit of a prayer feeling there. Where's our DK? There he is. Quite a range. Let's see, have we got a bit of heroes again? No, Hunter's got it, wonderful. Think of ourselves for renew, don't always use renew in disc, but in this case it's okay because no one's taking mega damage. Keep our Prayer of Mending on cooldown, keep our Rapture on cooldown, keep our Penance on cooldown, avoid the Ice Blades, nice and simple. Smite when there's nothing else to do. Rapture's ready, so we'll wait for that weakened soul to go off. Oh, by the way, sorry, this is a great time to explain about my grid. I'm going to get rid of that. Nope, the Hunter's going to get rid of that. The way I have grid set up at the moment is that if you see a white square in the top right, that means they've got power shield on them, and if there's a yellow square in the bottom right, that means that they've got weakened soul on them, and obviously therefore can't be shielded. And also you'll occasionally see a little blue square pop up in the top left. That means that they have a magic debuff on them that I can probably dispel. And if they have a little green one in the bottom left, then that means there's a disease I can dispel, but I'm not sure we'll see any of those throughout this dungeon. Alright then. Haven't had to use any cooldown so far, it's quite nice. Discipline, obviously known especially for its very powerful raid cooldowns. Its power barrier especially being one of the most powerful cooldowns in the game in my opinion. Although generally these days we keep power infusion to ourselves because of the mana issues that came with Cataclysm and healing. Oh wow, we've got a disease, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now we're going to penance ourselves just to make sure that we are nice and healed for the next fight. Okay, you can see even when people all start taking damage, as long as it's not too bad, you can just keep smiting because like I say, it's a smart heal and it'll just target the nearest person, sorry not the nearest person, the person with the lowest health in range. Taking a bit of damage now, so it's going to give him a great heal. Yeah, it'll target the nearest person in range with the lowest percentage health, so we don't need to worry about who's taking the damage. We just need to keep smiting and Smite will take care of it for us. Alright, it's time for the boss fight. He got a spectral tiger? My goodness. I wonder if he bought that. Alright, get our shield on him, get our Prayer of Mending on him, get our Grace on him. Oh, there we go, Raptors on cooldown, start smiting. Our Hunt's taking a bit of damage, we're going to give him a Penance. We are going to get out of that because that is not good. We do not like to stand in that. Our Raptors off cooldown. And Smite away. Nice sort of greater heal crit there as well. And our Evangelism's at 5 stacks, we're going to use that because it's a tiny cooldown. Just got immune, so we're not going to be able to get those stacks back, which is a bit of a pain, but we will actually because we can target whatever these guys decide to go after, which I'm hoping is this one. Yep. So we'll go ahead and help out the DPS here, because that's what we do as Disc. We are the good guys, we help out with DPS as much as we, well not as much as we help out with healing obviously, but yeah, we also help out with the DPS, which is quite nice. We've got 3 stacks of Evangelism, almost back at 5, there's our 5th stack, get it on cooldown again. Just keep smiting away, nice and easy. You can see we're not having any mana problems at all. Keep our Prayer of Mending on cooldown. We can shield him again, but we're not going to because Rapture's not on cooldown yet, and that's what we're waiting for. We want our Rapture to proc because we want that mana back. There he goes, off cooldown, put a shield back on him. That guy just look. So we're going to give him the Penance instead. We're not too worried about Grace at the moment. Give it a little Prayer of Healing here. Back off cooldown, get it on cooldown. Yeah, we're not too worried about our Grace at the moment because we're doing enough healing to make sure the tank isn't going to die anyway. Let's help make sure this goes down nice and fast. Spamming that smite button. Make sure we get out of there. I've got a really nice annoying inner focus sound, haven't I? I'm going to go ahead and use Prayer of Mending. Sorry, Prayer of Healing, just to get rid of that, because I hate that sound. I don't know about you guys, but that sound annoys me to no end. I think... Alright, there we go. Nice and easy. Hunter feigning death there for some reason. So we can actually click on the portal, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And there you go, we're at the final boss fight already. Well, almost. Only a tiny bit of trash left to go. You can see throughout that entire fight there, we're actually doing about 5k DPS, so we're helping the group out as well in more ways than just healing. GK having some portal problems there. It's always the bottom portal. Always click the bottom portal. Anyway, we can get our prayer mending on this guy. These packs can be quite nasty, so we... Actually, no, this one's going to be okay, but the next ones are a bit of a pain. We might have to use our great heals instead of our smites. But you'll see that that's not going to be a problem at all. Just keeping everything on cooldown. Evangelism's at 5 stacks, go ahead and use it because it's got a short cooldown. We don't need to worry about using our trinket because if we're keeping our prayer mending on cooldown, we're also keeping our trinket on cooldown because of our macro. And just in case you haven't seen the first part for whatever reason, I'm going to stick all the macros in the description that I'm using. Mainly the Smite one because I know that's the one you guys are probably going to ask me for most. Okay, what's going next? This pack can be quite nasty, so we'll see how this goes. We've got 2 CC'd mobs though, so we should be okay here. Might use our lifeblood just to make sure we've got that little bit of extra haste. Because I'm a herbalist, just to make sure this guy does not die. Because we do not like dead tanks. Dead tanks are bad. Go, Evangelism's on cooldown. Make sure our grace stays up, keep our prayer mending on cooldown. We want to try and heal the party as much as we can, only using our prayer of mending and our prayer of healing and our smite. Obviously if someone needs healing, then you heal them, but if you can get away with it, try and not use greater heals or anything else on the rest of the party because we like to focus on the tank and it saves our mana. This is more true for raids. In 5-mans, and obviously because I'm rather well geared at the moment, you won't need to worry about it so much, but especially in raids, we try not to heal the party too much with direct heals. Unless we have to, of course. We're going to get out of that because that's not nice. This fight will be a bit more interesting because we're going to get split up. Go. Here we go. Start using our prayer of healing. Rapture's off cooldown, get it on cooldown. Smite when we can. Hunter's out of range, that's not good. We'll sort that out in a second if he takes any damage. Get our evangelism on cooldown. On this fight, if you guys don't know it, there is a nice mechanic where whenever we use the hourglass we get all our cooldowns back straight away. So it's slightly interesting actually. Oh no, that's fine. So we can use our divine hymn and not worry too much about the cooldown here. And our barrier for that matter. And our power infusion in fact. Who can we give our power infusion to? No one needs it because no one uses mana. Okay, well I'm going to go ahead and use it because it's awesome. Get our shield back on cooldown and our archangel back on cooldown. Just a quick note about borrowed time as well. Whenever you cast a power shield, you get a little buff called borrowed time. Now, if you're using Penance and Smite, I'm not sure if Smite takes borrowed time, but Penance doesn't. So what it means is you can cast a power shield and then you can cast a Penance and a greater heal, and your greater heal will still have the effects of that borrowed time, which is very nice. Okay, we're going to take a bit of damage there, but we're just going to use Divine Hymn because we know we're going to get our cooldowns back really soon. We're not going to be too worried about it.
Will make no difference. You will bear.
There we go, just keeping everything on cooldown. I know I said that quite a lot this video, but it's because it's important. You guys need to keep these things on cooldown. We use our barrier there. We're taking damage, we're not bothered in this fight, we're just going to throw out our Divine Hymn. Get our Power Infusion up, get our Lifeblood up, why not? Let's throw out those Prayer of Healings, let's build up that Divine Aegis, let's cheese the mechanics. This guy's doing a bit of damage, no problem, we're giving him a Penance, we're going to shield ourselves out, we're going to Pain Suppression ourselves, make sure we don't die.
Is this your plot, your scheme?
They're using the Hourglass there. Better idea is just to avoid all of these fiery balls of doom altogether. I know I'm saving having to do this, but oh dear, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm currently very tired, so I may not be performing as well as I could do. I'm sorry about that. We'll go ahead just out of range of that, so that's fine. Get our shield up, and there we go.
What you have done.
Nice and easy, and I hope that's been somewhat helpful in teaching you how to heal as a Discipline Priest. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave them in the comments. As requested, I will be doing a video on what you should be doing in looking for raid to help yourself, help yourself heal loads and make sure we're doing the best job we possibly can. If you have any other requests, any questions, any comments, please leave them below. Please like, favourite, subscribe, and stay tuned for our next videos, which will be coming out very shortly. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.